In the middle of the American Revolution, a young nation stood alone against the greatest empire on earth. No country would call it a friend. No flag would be raised in its honor. And then, from across the ocean, a single kingdom looked toward America and said, "We see you." It was 1777. The 13 colonies were fighting for their survival. Britain controlled the seas. American merchant ships were hunted, captured, and held for ransom. A new nation needed allies, trade, and recognition, but it had none. Far across the Mediterranean and into the Atlantic, there was another world entirely. The Kingdom of Morocco, a Muslim kingdom ruled by a sultan, watched the distant conflict unfold. And its ruler made a decision no European power had yet dared to make. His name was Sultan Mohammed III, and in December of 1777, he did something remarkable. He added the newly independent United States to the list of nations whose ships could enter Moroccan ports freely. It was more than a courtesy, it was recognition. Morocco became the first country in the world to acknowledge the United States as an independent nation, before France, before Spain, before any European ally. An American ship that had been captured by the British, the Betsy, was even released under the Sultan's protection. But this was not an empty gesture. The waters off North Africa were dangerous. Pirates from the Barbary coast seized foreign ships and enslaved their crews. Every trading nation paid tribute for protection. America, weak and bankrupt, could not afford to pay. Yet the Sultan offered something different. American ships could sail and trade under Moroccan protection, not as tribute-paying subjects, but as friends. It was a lifeline for a nation that had almost nothing. The friendship was sealed in 1786 in the city of Marrakesh with the Moroccan-American Treaty of Peace and Friendship. It was signed by Thomas Barclay for America and by the Sultan's representative for Morocco. Its words were simple and profound. In them, the Sultan declared that peace, tranquility, and friendship would endure between the two nations. It was one of the very first treaties the young United States ever signed. The first American president took notice. In 1789, George Washington wrote personally to Sultan Mohammed III. He addressed him as his great and magnanimous friend and thanked him for his early and continued goodwill toward America. Washington, a man who commanded the respect of a new nation, wrote to a Muslim ruler as an equal and as a friend. The letter traveled across the Atlantic to the court of a sultan who had believed in America when almost no one else did. And here is what makes this story extraordinary. That treaty has never been broken. It remains in force to this day, making the Moroccan-American Treaty of Friendship the longest unbroken treaty in the history of the United States. Today, the American legation in Tangier is the oldest American diplomatic property in the world. It stands as a living reminder that America's first friend was not a European empire. It was a Muslim kingdom that chose peace long before the world believed America would survive. The story of Morocco and America teaches us something enduring. Recognition is not always given by the powerful. Sometimes it comes from the wise. And friendship, when built on sincerity and honor, can outlast empires, wars, and centuries. If this story moved you, share it with someone who should know it, and follow for more stories of history's forgotten chapters.